Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 6. If you think about it this way, you're just about three-fourths of the way done with this course and getting closer to entering into your summer break. Congratulations to all the groups for completing their group assignments, getting them up on the discussion board, getting them turned in for grading. I appreciate that. Some great topics, whether the social justice that we're experiencing currently, growth mindset, just some great topics. So thank you for that, and thank you for the work that you've put into it, as well as grading your scenario papers and just seeing the experience that you've had as educators that coming into the papers as well. So a nice job. Just a reminder about APA. When you're paraphrasing, you always want to make sure at some point in that maybe multiple sentences that you are citing where that information is coming from. Typically in a paper, you wouldn't want to say in a current reading for the week or something like that. You definitely want to just cite the article that you read or the video that you viewed or the presentation that you viewed. So just a reminder in APA and paraphrasing and citing, that's an important piece. So let's get into week 6. Week 6, we're going to continue to look at communication. And with that, there's an article for you to read this week. Besides reading the weekly overview, the article is what teachers say and how they should say it. It is a about 8-page article that really discusses how a teacher should interact with students, how a teacher should interact with parents, and communicating together. So continuing to further that development of what you discussed in your scenario paper. So that's the reading for this week. The Christian message, let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone. At Colossians 4:16, a great reminder. Always bring grace into your conversations. Really being sensitive, as a lot of you mentioned in your papers. That's important and key to value the student, value the parent, and making sure that we're making those connections. So the week 6 discussion board connects to the reading, asking you to reflect on a communication style recommended in the article that it says currently used, but now that majority of you are on summer break, what you have used with your students and your family. So just something to think about. And then this week, what's due is the starting of your final project, if you want to call it a project. It is the signature assignment. The design of the signature assignment is to be reflective on your school community and taking an inventory of it, and maybe creating an action plan is where we're going to build. So there are 3 components to it. Week 6, week 7, and week 8 all have different components that are going to need to be done. So we'll talk about week 6 right now. So the component here that I want you to remember for this overall project is that majority of the information that you're going to get will come from your district website, whether it's from the census, the data sheets that the state provides, your dashboard, your California dashboard on your school. That'll provide quite a bit of the information that you're looking for a component of this, which really will connect with this week in week 6. So this is the overall view of the components, looking at these questions and information gathering that is expected. I'm sorry, it is the expected piece for this week in week 6. I apologize. I was trying to give you an overview of the assignment, which is this sheet here, which you should see. Part 1, which is week 6, is the school and community inventory. Part 2, the needs assessment, summary, and analysis. And then part 3, creating, communicating the intervention plan. So that's where we're going with all of this, is a school and community intervention plan. Sorry, I was referencing the wrong page before. So that's why my confusion. I do apologize for that in the video here. But instead of re-recording, I'm going to show you my confusion. So that way, if you're confused, we can be confused together and solve it here. So again, this is what we're currently looking at, the signature assignment overview for all 3 sections for weeks. Part 1 is week 6, part 2 is week 7, and part 3 is week 8. So each part is going to build on each other. So I want you to think when creating this document that you're going to do part 1, which will be submitted this week. When you do part 7, you're just going to, do part 2, do week 7. You're just going to insert it at the bottom of your part 1 and separate it by part 1, part 2 with your headings. but keep building the same document so it gets larger. So that way, when you ultimately submit in week 8, the third part will actually have parts 1, 2, and 3 all together and built into it. Sort of making a connection with your capstone experience, that's how you'll be submitting sections or chapters, is building upon each other and keeping it all in the same document. So that's what we're working towards. So now let's get more specific for week 6 and part 1, the school and community inventory. So with that, there's a link here that'll say for assignment number 5, part 1, and it is this page right here. So you're going to gather your data for the inventory from, again, your district website, your census.gov information for your community, or your dashboard, or I've already said the data sheet. So you'll get that information there. So you're going to answer these 14 questions right here. So if I can put it one way, the level 2 heading will say part 1, school and community inventory. And then each of these questions can either be a heading of their own, being a subheading, a level 3 heading, or a level 2 heading, depending how you want to organize. But you're going to be answering all these questions. This really is the main point of it, is then to summarize, the main point is to get this data, to then build this summary, to summarize your district's public relations communications plan, which you've done if you think about our number 2 assignment and how you communicate information, so you have that information. So just know that that's where we're building towards, is you're going to answer these 14 questions about your school or your district, and then give a summary component that will flow then into part 2. So I'm going to try and say it again one more time so I don't sound as confused, because I promise I'm not, but I want to make sure you understand. So what is due this week in week 6 is part 1 of your signature assignment. It is the inventory. You're going to answer in the inventory these 14 questions, and they literally can be, here's the question, here's the answer, and then you're going to give a summary from these 14 components to summarize how your district is communicating and how it needs to address the different communities within your district. That is what is due for week 6, part 1 of the signature assignment, or assignment 5. And then you'll see the observation that you'll go into for part 2, which is really you reflecting on your class as school is already out. If I hopefully have not confused you, or if I did confuse you, please feel free to email, phone call, text, whatever you need, and we'll work it through together. But if you can answer those 14 questions and give a summary, you've hit part 1 of the signature assignment that is due by this Sunday. I hope that it is a good week for you, and that you enjoy the good weather that you're having. I know there's still a lot of processing going on for looking at what next year is going to be like. The uncertainty is your school coming back? Will it be a hybrid program? Will it be all online again? We've received state guidance right now that leaves all the options open, which is a little crazy. And then I know it's reflecting on our social justice, or continuing that conversation of racism into the school year, as I know this will be a conversation I hope that continues to build and make our nation the great nation that it is and can be, as we really think about what is fair and what is right for all, because a Black life matters just as much as every other life, and we need to make sure that we're not being biased in what we're doing as well. So a lot of things to think upon, but this inventory will let you be able to reflect on your community. And again, I'm here if you have any questions. God bless.